to the Under-17 boys grand final for the Champions Cup of 2024 between Berwick College and Flinders College. Michael Thompson is with you on the call for the next couple of games, and a man who's been here all day, my expert this afternoon, Jack Thornton. Jacko, good to be with you.
Michael, a pleasure.
What's you expecting for today's game?
Well, it's really an interesting one. So we've seen a couple of great games so far today that have been maybe not necessarily in the same, like not necessarily the outcomes that we expected, but it's to be expected with a day like today. Like, it's different to every other game that these teams are playing week in, week out. It's not your normal Saturday morning school game where you're playing at MSAC or the Veneto Club on a Saturday morning. You're out here on a Sunday afternoon. You've got a big crowd in. You've got the music's heaving, and you know, we're looking forward to having a good day today. It's two pretty strong teams that we've got coming up, and a lot of familiar names across the board.
Who are you looking forward to from both Berwick and Flinders College this afternoon, in sort of who might be the X factors for both sides?
On the Flinders side, it's hard to go past the big Denver Warrior. He was really important in the Junior Classic final earlier in the year out of Dandenong, and I think he's going to be the type of player that's really going to relish the big stage and opportunity. In terms of the Berwick side, they're just such a strong unit across the board. You expect to see a lot of high intensity, high pressure stuff coming out of their locker today. So it's a really, really, really big matchup coming up. I'm really looking forward to it. Absolutely.
So the teams that have been decided this afternoon, firstly for Berwick, Parker River, Zachary Morrell, Xavier Osman, Zane Windsor, Jake Shaw, Harrison DeKoning, Cooper McCallum, Lachlan Pickering, Elijah Carter and Edward James. And for Flinders College, Sean Pereira, Denver Warry, Josh Little, Harvey Robertson, Bailey Marshall, Spencer Mitchell, Matthew Wolf, Marcus Christensen, Newnham and Michael Fittens. We're about to get underway here for this Under-17s grand final here of the 2024 Champions Cup, live from the graveyards here in Nuttawading. Good crowd in this afternoon, and not too bad outside either, as opening tip is won by Berwick. To start things off here this afternoon, Rivets at the 45 now for Pickering. Ball's trying to go insidewoods there for the Koenig, no good, turned it over, and away goes Christensen here for Flinders College.
Michael Fitton, another one that had a really important game in that NJC final earlier in the year. I'd expect to see his name popping up on our stats sheet on both ends today.
Christensen and Mitchell at the 45. He's going to go and try and go inside the paint for the rack. Can he get the first points? He can. The Flinders bench is already up 2-0.
Yeah, superstar. That's exactly what you need if you're Flinders today. Coming in, Berwick probably just outsiders in this one, but Flinders looking to impose themselves early in this affair.
Windsor from outside for three. Hits the rim, and that's about it. They'll keep possession, though, through Windsor. Hands it down to Morrell. Morrell's going to go around. Step back shot. Not too bad on the shot there, mid-range. And again, missing there, and another rebound going away of Flinders. So Warry, as you mentioned, man to look out for here this afternoon, Denver Warry. And there you go. First points for Denver Warry this afternoon, and not a bad little mid-range floater there.
Just too big and too strong, and as we've seen time and time again in his junior career so far.
It's Rivets almost got Berwick off the mark this afternoon. Another missed shot there, so now 0 from 4. Berwick in the early going to this contest. Warry, Fitton. Hands it back now to Denver Warry. Top of the key here for Flinders. He's at the elbow. He's going to shoot from that elbow. No good. They'll keep possession. Fitton again to Warry. He's going to step back now for Marshall. And nothing but airborne. Won't bother Parker Rivet in the slightest.
Look to try and get some better offense than that.
And that's it. There we go. Much better there from Berwick. They're on the board this afternoon through Parker Rivets.
A really nice little floating finish through traffic was Rivet. Again, another one of those players that does it time and time again for his outfit on a Friday night.
Fitton back to Denver Warry. Warry at the deep two, so they're going to go inside. He's going to try and get through his last man. Nice hook shot off the glass, goes in.
I was just saying it before that he's so strong when he gets onto that right hand, able to finish with the jump hook that time around.
Rivet, Morrell. Morrell from long range three. Again, not a bad attempt there from Morrell. He picked up his own ball and a little bit short on the floater there on the second attempt. So they missed a couple of easy bunnies in the early going to this one, Berwick, haven't they, Thorno?
Yeah, Berwick just not able to get anything really going offensively. Maybe aside of that little floater earlier. I think that was Morel at the time that got that one to go, was Christensen.
Misses on that one. A second attempt there from Christensen. And one thing Flinders College have done well in the early goings is they're not afraid to crash the boards and get their own O-board. And that's something that Berwick haven't done too much of so far this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd think the size advantage is probably in Flinders' favour, but as that one sails out of bounds, Berwick just have to do a job on the offensive glass. Like you can't be coming in here and being lackadaisical on glass on either end of the floor against a large side like Flinders are.
Mitchell, Marshall, Christensen, inside here for Denver Warri. He's going to try and get through his last man. And draws his foul, so he'll head to the line for the first time this afternoon. And should be 2 points here potentially now for Denver Warri as he heads to the line here for Flinders to try and extend this now to 8-2. So they lead 6-2 by 4.
If you're Berwick, it's just a little bit concerning at this point that Warri's kind of able to get whatever he wants at this stage. He's just making an absolute bank, an absolute mint of getting that ball in the low post. That time he sort of went down a bit of a dead-end street, but he's fortunate to get bailed out by the big fella from Berwick. That was De Koning.
So Rivets, top of the key here for Berwick. He's going to try and get through the last man again, and it's going to stay with Berwick here, thankfully for them. But Flinders have just really dictated the pace of this game so far in the first quarter. Now lead by 5, 7-2.
Absolutely. Flinders just getting whatever they want at the moment, and defensively they're doing the job.
So Windsor now to try and inbound his ball, does so. Finds Morel top at the 45 here for Berwick. Parker Rivets. Pickering. Time's not on their side here. Morel's going to have to put this one up here. Shot clock almost expired and did well in the end. He draws his foul, Morel, just before the shot clock expired. So that was probably a smart panic shot there in the end from the mid-range.
It's an interesting one, right? Because I think a lot of times today so far we've played, three games so far, and it's been a common trend across all 3 of these games so far. It's something that I think especially in the younger age groups, is that you just need to get rid of the mentality that you need to bail someone out with a foul at the end of the shot clock. And I think that's something that these teams will learn as they grow into their basketball careers, and bailing out is not the option, especially in that situation where it's off balance and right at the death of a shot clock.
Zach Morel gets the second to go down, misses on the first. Margin at 4.73 in favour of Flinders. 4 minutes left here in quarter number 1. Fitton. Inside the post, no good, turned over, and that's much better from Berwick. Better hustle there in the end from Morel. And Rivets away here, top of the key now over the Morel. He's going to find a man in space in Pickering. Windsor got that from Rivets. And Zane Windsor might go to work here, does well. Skills in a low post there from Zane Windsor, and that's much better from Berwick.
Tough finish. The baseline hoops guys would have loved that one. A little up and under.
Mitchell
through traffic.
Did well. Marshall, back to Mitchell, top of the key here now, Flinders. Hands off to Denver Warri. Oh, he's going to try and go mid-range here, and it goes in.
Tough finish, Denver Warri. So good when he gets onto that right hand.
Margin at 4 points, 3 minutes left here in quarter number 1. Shot off. Missed there in the end there from De Koning.
Okay.
And it's come off Denver Warri here, so that's his first foul of the afternoon. Kind of missed that behind the play there, I think, Jacko.
Yeah, didn't see anything much in it, to be quite honest. I thought Warri just managed to find himself in some pretty good space, but evidently got to that space illegally, so picks up his first.
Rivets. They'll try and get to the last man, and fortunately stamped the passport. He's gone and travelled that one.
I think there's the makeup from a moment ago, because I thought he did a pretty good job of keeping the pivot foot down, but nevertheless, we press on.
They're tough, those ones, aren't they, those calls?
Absolutely. Especially in this environment, big crowd building too, for what it's worth.
Warri. Now the Marshall. To the hands of Wolf for the first time he's on. Christensen. Back to Denver Warriors on 7 points so far this afternoon. He's the danger man. And he's drawn his foul again as Denver Warrior. He's such an unorthodox player to play on and sort of gets into the right place at the right time. And he's now got an opportunity to shoot 2 more here.
He's so big and so strong, but at times he can just look so clumsy. And in the situation like he just had then where he's kind of trying to break someone down at the very end of a shot clock. And just as we mentioned a moment ago, it's another bailout at the end of a late shot clock situation. You play 23 seconds of great defense and you ruin it by bailing him out at the last second. It's a coach killer, that one.
Warrior misses on the first. And misses on the second.
Got away with one.
As you mentioned, a bit of a bailout there for Berwick. We'll see what they can do here on this possession. Rivets, top of the key now for Berwick. He's going to go in. Nice little layup, missed though. Picked up here by Marshall, and away go Flinders again through Warrie. Warrie guarded here by Pickering. He's going to step back shot here. This time Denver Warrie, he misses. And Parker Rivets away here now for Berwick. Can he find an extra man? He hits the deck. And it's come off the boot there of Marshall.
It's a play for Rivet to just throw that one at the feet of the Berwick defenders. He clearly thought that he was going to struggle to get that one to a teammate, as Berwick are going to have a chat about it.
Probably a smart idea too, by Parker Rivet. You lose your footing, you hit the deck. Best position to put it in is to make sure that the opposition gets boot to ball, so you try and retain that possession.
Absolutely, and you see it happen time and time again, is that teams will go to the floor and they'll have the ball and clean possession and just don't know what to do with it. And that's a really smart, that's a play above his years.
So Flinders College 9, Berwick College 5. What have you liked so far from both sides, Jacko?
Oh, well, it's hard to go past Denver Warrior. 7 of the 9 so far for Flinders. We mentioned him before the game as a player to look out for, and would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of Michael Fitton before he went off the floor before. But no, it's definitely Warrior for Flinders, and for Berwick, I think Rivet's been he's been pretty sharp as he's been able to get feet in paint a lot of the time. And they've only had 5 points on the game. It feels like it's a lot tighter than it is. It's been very end-to-end. I think that bodes well for both teams moving forward. I think it probably gives Berwick the advantage if the game stays close ongoing.
Do you feel Berwick need to maybe crash the boards a bit more offensively too? Because that's what Flinders have done a little bit so far in this game.
I think so, but also with that in mind, it's quite hard in this situation where you've got such long athletic players on Flinders that you kind of take you fight your battles. And I think that in Berwick's case, your battle's probably going to be winning defensive glass more than it's going to be trying to win the offensive second chance points.
Morale, Carter on for his first minutes of the afternoon. Back to Morale. He's going to try and drive Zach Morale in a bit of trouble here. Had to get rid of it. Did so. Parker Rivets, long range 3. And that's better from Rivets. Cuts it back to 1.
Disjointed offense, but you can't fault the finish. Morale falling to the floor, and they managed to keep it alive and get it to Rivet.
As Marshall gets through the last player in there in Pickering, and an easy bucket there for Marshall for Flinders College to make it a three-point lead in favour of Flinders.
It's going to be really key for Flinders now is how they get the rest of their group involved. It's been all Warriors so far.
And Morale's going to go to the line again for 2 more.
All Warriors so far, but not a lot of contribution from anywhere else, and seeing Marshall be able to spin down the lane and finish like that is going to be really important. As mentioned, wholesale changes both ways now.
I think Morale's starting to get himself going in this game for Berwick. It's just maybe he needs to clean up the free throw shooting. He went 1 of 2 the last time he was at the line. Misses there. So he's 1 from 3 from the line so far this afternoon, Zach Morale.
3 points. We saw it in the last game that free throws were the biggest bugbear of probably Western Heights in their quest for the under-17 girls title. They really struggled to put the ball in the hole from the foul line and cost them in a close game. 5-point loss. And you need those points at the end of the day.
You do indeed. Newnham on the floor now for Flinders.
Nice move.
He's got a couple to deal with, and wrestling away there beautifully was Elijah Carter.
It's a really nice move in there to get to that point from Newnham. And just got to that point and tried to spin back into traffic. He almost needed to continue going, try and beat him on the left.
Mitchell, Fitton, Might go himself here. Draws his foul.
Called for it a moment ago that I wanted a bit more Michael Fitton action in this one, and comes into the game and went straight to the hole, and really like the look of his intent on that drive too. And I know that he often does his best work back to the basket down low, but that's a really good intent drive to try and beat him on the right edge and get all the way to the basket. He's going to reward himself with a trip to the line.
Michael Fitton, first time on the line, misses the first. Trying to expand this lead now back to 3. Misses on the second attempt too, so Flinders have left a couple in the air so far from the free throw line. And it might pay dividends here for Berwick. Morrell at the elbow. Inside here for Carter. He's get cut off. Well done by Michael Fitton. Finds Mitchell. Now Flinders are away. Gets past the backcourt in the nick of time. In space. Newnham. 3. Misses. But a good O-ball there from Wolf.
You called for it before. Can you keep them off offensive glass? And clearly not in that instance.
No, not at all. Mitchell. Now from Marshall. Fitton, top of the key. 14 seconds. 3 seconds between shot and game. That's much better. Marshall with the battle cry. Gets the bucket. And he's going to head to the line for the extra.
You see that connection. That's a Frankston Blues connection of the big fella going inside. Finds his man. Michael Fitton was sensational there on the lead pass and managed to lead his man, Bailey Marshall, all the way to the tin.
Can't complete his good work though in the end there, Bailey Marshall. And margin stays at 4. Last bucket potentially here for Berwick. They'll keep possession. 4.3 seconds left.
Need a score here if you're in the Berwick camp. 2 points is a lot different to a 4-point margin going into the first change. Really would break the back of Flinders. They've been well on top this quarter.
James looking for a teammate. Finds one in Carter. Elijah Carter, can he be the one to put the last bucket in? He can. Made it look way too easy there. And at the end of quarter number 1, it's Flinders 13, leading Berwick 11, Jack Thornton.
Yeah, really have to like the way that Berwick have gone about it here. Flinders have been well on top for the better part of that first period. You know, they were sensational. Denver Warrior was the difference, I would say, in the first 5 minutes of that quarter. Berwick just chipped away at it, chipped away at it, chipped away at it. And Carter, what a sensational hang and fire right at the buzzer to send them in. 2 points in arrears. You just have to really like the intent that Berwick are throwing out there at the moment. They've done go as far to say they did a poor job in the first 5 minutes of keeping the Flinders offense in check, but as the quarter wore on, they kind of warmed into the game a bit more, and here we sit. Flinders a 2-point slender 2-point margin.
Do you feel Flinders are a completely different team when Denver Warriors not on the floor? Do you feel that they're trying to find, like, I know Michael Fitton's probably the next best option, but do you feel that they need a bit more supply and demand from the rest of their team to try and sort of continue to lead? Because Berwick really chipped away very late in that first quarter.
I think so. 3 individual scorers so far for Flinders in their 13, 7 of them are from Warrie. So no contribution from Fitton at this point, apart from that beautiful dime just a moment ago to Marshall. But Marshall and Fitton are probably the next 2 guys that need to step up, and Mitchell will chip in where he can. And for mine, I just think that Warrie is going to have a big night if they're going to get over the line. And for Berwick, that has to be their key, is slowing him down and stopping him, because at the end of the day, that's going to be where the game's won and lost.
And, of course, Berwick have got that speed right now. We've seen what Elijah Carter can do. We saw Zach Morrell too. So they've got a little bit of speed on the floor too. Parker Rivet was very speedy in a couple of attempts on possession for Berwick. So they've got people that can utilise their speed. They just need to find that bucket.
Absolutely. And I think the key for them also is going to be keeping their turnovers down. They had 4 and 3 of them were in the first 3 minutes. So it's really important that's where you limit. You just have to limit the live ball turnovers. If you're Berwick, don't give them the opportunity to go down the floor with no stoppage and no opportunity to get back and set your defense.
Quarter 2 underway. As Windsor back on the floor. Quick bucket misses here from Berwick. But on the O board, James gets his first points of the afternoon. Ties things up at 13 apiece. Good start here for Berwick.
Yeah, have to like the intent of that one. Great lead pass inside. Got some great space. Probably wishes he made the layup in there, but unfortunately wasn't to be.
Warrie back on the floor now for Flinders. Find a teammate. Floater. No good. Missed there was Christensen. They'll keep possession. Mitchell at the 45 now for Flinders. Guarded here by McCallum. Can he get the bucket? He can't. And Berwick are away here by Pickering.
Tried to climb the ladder, and I don't think the ladder was there to be climbed. I don't know that the right hand with a hand contesting was necessarily the right option there.
James. Windsor in space. Zane Windsor no good. They get the O-board again. Pickering. Hook shot from him. He misses. And a rebound there from Denver Warrior, and away go Flinders here through Mitchell. Back over to Warrior. So they've done well defensively so far, Berwick, in the start this second quarter. Can they just keep this intensity up? Shot from the mid-range here from Mitchell. Doesn't go in, and Berwick did everything right to keep it in. Fortunately, to turn that ball over because Mitchell gets hand to ball again. Top of the key, Mitchell. Did not blink.
That's a coach killer, that one. I can remember being taught as young as under 12s that if you're falling out of bounds on the defensive end, just carry that thing out of bounds because you're always going to have a disadvantage if you save that and it goes to the opposition. And sure enough, they made him pay.
James, bit of an air ball there from Berwick. And found the midst of Denver Warrior. Warrior at the foul line. Finds Fitton. Now top of the key here for Warrior. Mitchell. Inside Fitton. In space, Newnham. Can't get his points on the board there. Fitton did well with the O-board and couldn't complete it. Had to deal with 4 Berwick players inside that post. Could Zane Windsor make him pay on the other ends? He can't.
Nothing quite beats the sound of that dull thump off the back of the ring, especially when the crowd is sort of expecting it to go down.
I think Berwick were expecting that to go down too, I think. On the way they sort of stopped a little bit. Newnham, Fitton, Mitchell. Here for Fitton. Can he get a bucket? He can't. And good defensive pressure again from Pickering. And that foul will be called on Christensen. That's going to get away at Berwick.
Doing the right things at the minute, Flinders. They're just not getting the ball to fall, in essence. I think they're definitely trying not to be so reliant on Warrior, but, you know, the big Michael Fitton's just had 2 gilt-edged opportunities and not able to finish either of them.
I think the problem, too, with Michael Fitton is he's had a couple of good looks, but he's probably expecting a little bit more help from his teammates because mainly most of the time, you see he's been teamed up 3-on-1 as Zane Windsor puts it down. Nice triple there from Zane Windsor. He's up to 5 points, 2 rebounds. And he's tied things up again.
Yeah, we like the look of that with you, Berwick. Like the look of you guys getting hot from the 3-point line at this time of the night.
Mitchell got off from Marshall. And they've turned that ball over again to Flinders. Windsor, oh, no look pass. That was beautiful. Good pressure. Can't pay dividends though. Can they get it on the 4th attempt? No, they can't. Well done from Flinders. They were bailed out there. 4 good attempts by Berwick, and they left it to be desired. Can they make it pay on the other end? They can't. Ball goes out. It's going to go back to Berwick, but gee, 4 really good attempts, as I mentioned, there by Berwick to put a bucket in and to take the lead. And unfortunately, none of them went in.
Not an amazing minute of play if you're a basketball purist there,
no.
It must be said. But, hey, the Berwick College outfit that you screamed earlier on that you wanted to see more offensive rebounding out of, certainly can't fault that.
No.
Certainly can fault their effort in putting it back in the hole. But
100%.
in terms of the O-boards, more than forthcoming on that.
As they've turned that ball over now to Christensen for Flinders. And he's put that ball out. It's going to stay with Flinders College. There's a bit more conversation out there too from the players, which is good to see.
Just tried to force one up through traffic there. Probably didn't need necessarily to run the break on that instance. He probably had a little bit more time than he thought.
They've turned that ball over again at Flinders. Rivet, can he put them in front? He can't. Second attempt at long last there from Morrell. Berwick in front, 18-16.
Yeah, fought for the ball really hard on that offensive rebound and came down with it, able to put it up under duress. The rest is history.
Christensen, Mitchell. It's really been a Berwick filled second quarter. Floater here from Mitchell. Goes in. That's better. They've So Mitchell now up to 7 points with his one board, shooting at 60% from the field. So having a good time from the field this afternoon is Mitchell. Shaw's on the floor now for Berwick. Can they go inwards here for Morrell? He misses the opportunity to go the and one. He's going to have to do it the hard way and shoot two.
Yeah, Morrell's been good so far for them. Not shooting the ball, not putting up any record-breaking shooting numbers. Only shooting 20% from the floor, but you have to like the intent in which he's attacked. And it's very hard to see where else apart from, or it was very hard to see where else apart from Rivet the score was going to come from for Berwick, but Morrell certainly putting his hand up.
He missed on the first. So I think it's 1 of 5 now from the line, I think, this afternoon for Zach Morrell.
2 of 5 from the line. And 1 of 5 from the floor.
So 2 of 6 now from the line. So we'll just watch this space a little bit. Marshall, Christensen, Fitton, inwards here for Warry. He can't go underneath the post and put it in. Good pressure again from Berwick as they're away. Through Windsor. In space. Can't get it to go. Shaw trying to get hand to ball there. And a missed shot again there from Zach Morrell. And that's been called there on Shaw.
I really like the move here for Berwick to head to this. It's almost like a slider 3-2 zone look. I really like it. And with that said, I think Berwick, beg your pardon, Flinders doing a pretty good job of getting it to the middle of the zone, which is, if you anything to do with basketball, are aware that the release point is the middle of that zone, and there they go again.
Here we go. Can they get it in? They can this time. Marshall puts it in, up to 6 points now. And Flinders get the lead back, 20-18, 2:16 left in quarter number 2. Morrell at the foul line. Windsor at the 45. Guarded here by Christensen. Now he's out of bounds. You can see the frustration on young Zane Windsor's face there.
He's just trying to do too much with it. He just needs to go back to what works well for him, which is, as we've seen so far today, he's been absolutely dynamic by getting his feet in the paint, and that time he's just trying to shake and bake too much with it. Just needs to go back to his basics here. Rip and go.
Wolf. Robinson. Marshall. Over to Wolf. Can he get the 3 ball? He can't. O-ball was good here from Robinson. And they lose possession again. Wrestled away there by DeConing. Windsor. Bounce pass here for Parker Rivets. In space. Harrison DeConing for 3. Berwick back in front.
Got to get a hand out there to the shooters, and especially in that situation where you've got a wide open trailer. DeConing says, thank you very much. I'll have some of that.
Marshall, Warry. Been very quiet in quarter number 2 as Denver Warry's been well restricted. And that dry spell continues. There's been a much better quarter here from Berwick though in quarter number 2. Windsor. Ball goes down, it's going to go Flinders' way. DeConing didn't look too confident on that one either. He thought it was going to stick with them.
Yeah, I thought maybe that was off Flinders' hand, but irrespective of that, Flinders will have a talk. And probably just try and, if anything, get their heads back in it, because a Berwick lead for just about the first time today.
10-7 run in favour of Berwick in this second term too. So they've been a bit more consistent in this second quarter. We've seen them, as we mentioned, crash the O-balls a bit more, and they've really tightened up defensively too, Berwick, which is really good to see. They've really boxed out not only Denver Warry, but also Spencer Marshall's been boxed out too in spots too. So it's been really good to see that they've tightened up the defense a little bit too, and somewhat it's paid dividends on the offensive end as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's probably that change in defense to that 3-2 zone from Berwick is what's really dried up the well for Flinders in general, because it's taken Warry completely out of the game. He's had one opportunity where he's had feet in paint and getting a shot similar to what he had in the first half, or the first quarter, I beg your pardon. And he couldn't get anything to go. So it'll be interesting to see what Flinders come back out in here, and it'll be also interesting to see if Berwick stick with it or if they change back to a more regulation-looking matchup, because if you're Flinders should be licking your lips if you saw that the matchup came back out on the floor. And similarly, I think if you're Berwick, you're liking the look of this zone.
He hasn't been able to really shake off the 2-on-1s so far in this second quarter, and he's shown a bit of frustration too as Denver Warrior.
I think he's the type of player that's happy to play off the ball, but with that in mind, so they've gone back to the matchup here, but they're not getting the ball in a very productive spot.
Marshall misses on the shot from mid-range. It's going to go the way of Berwick.
So Warrior getting high post touches on that is not necessarily where I would expect him to be receiving the ball. I would almost have him coming off a pin down or something to get him a touch on the wing. I think he's a far more productive operator off the three-point line rather than from the high post.
And unfortunately, you got to take Marshall off too, because now he's on 3 fouls for the game.
It makes it really tough as we tick inside the last minute of play in the second quarter.
He looks a bit dishevelled on the bench too, does Marshall. So DeConey, can they make him pay on the other end, Berwick? No, they can't. Short on that shot. O-board, though, here from Windsor was good. Zane Windsor looks at the clock. He's got 20 to play with. So did Berwick. Rivets. Morrell inside here for DeConey. In space. Parker Rivet from long range. He misses. And Flinders get possession back here. Newnham on that wing. Now to the 45 here for Flinders. Lawrence Robinson to the hands of Wolf. Mitchell, guarded there by Windsor, will use Robinson as a screen for a bit of assistance. He might go himself here, thought about it, and a bit of miscommunication in the end. Mitchell was trying to go for the no-look pass. Robinson was a deer in headlights, had no idea that ball was coming, and they've turned that ball over again, so it will be with Berwick in 1.9 seconds left until half-time.
Wolf was wide open in that weak side corner, and as you sort of progress through the age groups, that's one that you absolutely are thinking, thank you very much for the wide open three ball. It's one that they'll learn, and they'll learn that that's the most dynamic spot on the floor you can get the ball to.
They did everything right there, though, because Mitchell used Robertson as a screen there, got a bit more space in hand, but as you mentioned, Wolf had a bit more space on the weak side. They opted not to use it. Mitchell was going to try and go inside that post for Robinson. Robinson, as I said, was just like deer in headlights, had no idea that ball was coming to him.
What's it that the young kids are saying these days? I loved the vision. And I could see the vision there that they were trying to get to as they drove into the paint, but Robinson just had no idea, did not have the faintest idea that he was going to end up in the dunker spot.
Yep. As
open as he was. So, you know, probably if they had their time over there kicking that out for a corner three, Wolf being so wide open, maybe they don't like him in the as that sort of drifting, floating three-point shooter. Maybe they don't like that in the context of their offense. But, you know, we're not in the huddle. We don't know that. But it'll be interesting to see what they can draw up from a defensive standpoint now. Try and resurrect something from this last 15 seconds. Obviously 1.9 left on the game clock here.
And now Berwick, they're going to have to be perfect here if they want one more real shot at this before halftime. Have to go the entire length of the court here. Osman going to try and go quarterback wise. No good there. Worry.
He got it away.
Hits the glass and that's it. So at halftime, Berwick 21, Flinders 20. It was all Berwick in that second quarter. And they really restricted Flinders to only the 7 points, while Berwick ended up putting 10 on the board themselves, Jack Thornton.
Yeah, it was a really quite a good turnaround for Berwick in that second quarter. Just felt that their intent was just a lot higher than we saw from them in the first. But this is what I was saying at the end of the first quarter, is that they just kept themselves in touching distance. They were able to just stay in the game, only a point or two down, I think, at quarter time. So able to go away and work at that, and they ended up winning that quarter by a score of 10 points to 8. So, beg your pardon, 10 points to 7. So they go in with this 1 point lead to the main change, and they'll be thinking they're in a pretty good spot right now.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the rebound count too. Again, so much more solid on the rebounds for Berwick in that second quarter in particular. 24 now to 20, 9 offensive boards and 15 defensive boards. And then Flinders have only got the 12 defensive boards, while they've also got the 8 offensive boards to go to boot as well.
Yeah, turnover count needs to be something to just have a look at as well. 7 turnovers so far for Flinders. That definitely ramped itself up after that first. Big pardon for Berwick. That was mostly in the first quarter. Berwick's able to generate 3 in that quarter alone. So just starting to teeter a little bit in the favour of Berwick in the major state categories.
Absolutely. We'll take a short break here from the graveyard at halftime. It is Berwick 21, Flinders 20. Michael Thompson, Jack Thornton with you. We'll be back with the second half on the other side of this. Welcome back to Nunawading, the graveyard for the 2024 Champions Cup Grand Final, and we are currently in the under-17s division here between Berwick and Flinders. And at half-time, Berwick lead 21-20. Michael Thompson with you. Jack Thornton is with me. Jacko, for those who've just joined us, just a summation of that first half and sort of what you liked and sort of what you're looking to see improve from both ends of the floor from both sides.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes of ebb and flow across the first half. It was very much Flinders who came out the stronger of the two teams in the first quarter, but Berwick just chipped away, and they were given the question of Denver Warrior as they got to quarter time, and they certainly found the answers in their 3-2 slider zone in the second quarter. But as we move forward in this one, it'll be really interesting to see who comes out ahead. I think it's going to be a game that's won on the defensive end. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a 100-98 scoreline at the end of it. Certainly not considering it's 20-21 at halftime, but it's going to be a bit of a slog. And I think the first 5 minutes here are going to be absolutely crucial to how the rest of the game's played out.
If you're Flinders, how do you stop the speed of Berwick? Because Berwick's speed right now is the Achilles heel of Flinders. Flinders are happy to sort of close and slow the tempo down a little bit, but Berwick, they're happy to make sure it's quick breaks after quick breaks after quick breaks.
Well, in essence, it's live ball turnovers. If you're going to get the turnover with the ball in play, it's going to be very tough to slow them down. And as I look down at my stat sheet in front of me, they turned the ball over 3 times in that quarter, Flinders. All of them, I would imagine, if memory serves, at least 2 of those 3 were in while the ball was in play. So if you're going to give Berwick the opportunity to take the ball off the hand and run the floor, you're going to have a bad time. The speed kills. And I think if you're allowing Berwick to have the speed that they want to have, then you're going to really, really struggle to contain them. And as we saw it in the second quarter.
And if you're Berwick, how do you stop the twin towers pretty much of Denver Warrior and, of course, Michael Fitton? Michael Fitton really hasn't got himself going, but you know he can get himself going in games like these. And he knows he needs to stand up massively in the second half to try and get Flinders over the line.
It's really interesting because I think with Fitton, he's such a great passer when he's not in the middle of the paint. Like we saw earlier, he had a really nice assist where he found, I can't recall who it was, I think it might have been Marshall, where he was inside and got a little high-low action. But, you know, I think if you're, well, speaking of, they just got to that action right there. But I think if you're Berwick, you just have to stick with this zone and try and see what you can do to clog the paint and not allow the big fellas to get in there and unguarded territory.
Mitchell, gonna have to get through to Coney, couldn't do so. Fitton, bucket, no, can't count. And again, can't get the monkey off the back this afternoon. Michael Fitton, he's going to have to hit a line again for 2 opportunities.
No, so I think he just ran out of time on the shot clock. There was a reset in there that shouldn't have been, so it will indeed be a Berwick ball from the baseline.
Oh, that's unlucky there for Michael Fitton because he was ready to go to shoot 2 there.
I think most of the stadium thought he was going to the line to shoot a couple of freebies, but alas, was not the case.
Well, they've turned that ball over now, Berwick, so almost a free hit now for Flinders if they can try and take advantage of it through Christensen. He misses. Rory tried to get the O-ball. The Koenig decided to get the rebound. And away goes Parker Rivet.
Done a reasonable job containing that fast break opportunity for Berwick. Just got to stay with it now.
Pickering to Koenig. Shot from the elbow here. And that's clean. He's been good this afternoon, Harry de Koenig.
Such a nice compact shot action. We saw how eager he was to get that triple away earlier. 1-1 from there and 2 or 4 from the floor in general. So able to do the job with the jumper.
Christensen misses that one. Bullying his way through was Morale. Windsor. Ball still live. Ball staying with Berwick. Now it's going to go back to Flinders. Zane Windsor, unfortunately for him, came off his knee there in the end.
That's the type of situation that Berwick would be desperate to take advantage of, and Flinders would be desperate to stop the long rebound that just turns into a fast break. And Flinders just held it so nicely towards the end that I didn't quite know what to do with it when it turned over.
Marshall, long range 3, no good. Another rebound there from the Koenig, and away goes Parker Rivets. He was good in that first quarter. He's getting himself going again. Is Parker Rivets. He's a bit quiet in that second turn, but has really sort of stood out in that third quarter so far, Jacko.
Ties the leading scorer of the game with 7 now. Didn't see a lot of him in the second, it must be said, but able to get himself going early here in the third championship quarter as it is.
Marshall shot from the elbow, no good. Another rebound there from DeConing. So DeConing's really doing it on both ends of the floor so far. Happy to get the rebounds. And we'll try and see if we can try and get him his shooting boots on again. Parker River from long range, no good. And the battle there between Pickering and Marshall. One out there in the end by Marshall.
Oh, wow.
Worry has got a 2 to deal with, and it's worked out well there for Denver Worry. Man, it's going to be called there on Zach Morrell, so it's going to send Denver Worry to the line for 2.
Catch down there that Justin Jefferson would have been proud of. Able to elevate through traffic and somehow come down with it. Outstanding control of the body, feet, and hands by Denver Worry. I was just noticing on that last end that they've changed up their matchup there with DeConing. Looks like Fitton's gone to him now, and looks like they're trying to give a bit more body and a little bit more contact, not letting him get those easy, uncontested middies.
So Worry misses on the first, got the second to go down, cuts it back to 4 points. Rivets. Windsor in space, underneath the post. As easy as you like there for Zane Windsor. Margin extends out to 6 points in favour of Berwick.
Just a totally blown coverage there defensively. Not one iota worth of split line help.
Worry got blocked off beautifully there by Morrell. Well done. Parker Rivet, I should say, my apologies. Here's Morrell. Ball goes in. Berwick again on a roll now. Flinders call a timeout. And a much needed timeout. And listening to the Berwick bench, they are up and about. And they should be. They lead by 8. 4:55 left in quarter number 3.
They're despondent down there on the Flinders sideline. A lot of bad body language coming off the floor, just completely flat. They probably thought that Denver Worry was going to the line down one end, and it rebounds straight back over their head. Morrell goes in, gets the easy deuce. You have to have alarms going off in your head if you're Flinders. It's an a 6-0 run to start this quarter. And it's going to be really tough if you're Flinders to find where your next points are coming from. Worry is not necessarily going to be the be-all and end-all. He's got 8 of their 21, but not a whole lot else on the board.
And yet, Flinders looked solid in that first 5-minute spurt of that first quarter, but since then they've gone really, really cold, and it's just been all Berwick for the duration of this game.
They've still only got 3 individual scorers. As I look down across the board, duck eggs for the majority. And not shooting at a real good clip either. Shooting somewhere in the realm of 30%, possibly just under. It's going to have to be some changes that come here for Flinders out of this timeout. And you dare say that you're going to have to get some more people involved than just Worry, Mitchell and Marshall.
Another guy who's been really good too in this third quarter, Harry DeConing.
Yes,
he stood up, like 3 really nice rebounds. He hit a really nice threes. Sorry, really nice 2, I should say. He's really starting to get himself going. 5 points and 7 boards. So he's on double-double watch already, and he's also got a block to boot too. So keep an eye on Harrison DeConing for the remainder of this game, because he might get that double-double. Mitchell, as you mentioned, what can Flinders do out of his timeouts? Worry. Got a couple to deal with. Can he get it to go in? Denver Worry. No, he can't. And again, Berwick just want more of the ball, and they might make him pay again on the other end. Same Windsor, same position, same results, but a bonus here for Zane Windsor. He's going to go to the line now for the extra.
Said just a moment ago, speed kills, and your man Harrison DeConing was able to come down with that long rebound and just generate fast break opportunities. And geez, if you're Flinders, it's alarm bells ringing everywhere. They're lighting up the dashboard like a Christmas tree on the engine warnings. And now they're down 11. Out of nowhere almost.
You weren't expecting this, were you?
I don't think anyone was expecting this, but man, Berwick have just absolutely punched Flinders in the mouth.
Christensen can't break the duck, you would say. Another rebound here for Berwick. And they're like sharks at the moment. They can smell blood in the water. Rivets. DeConing. With the size difference over Mitchell. Unfortunately, Harrison DeConing went and travelled there on that occasion. But Mitchell looked like a bit of a deer in headlights there. He had no idea. But again, Harrison DeConing, you look at him between him and Mitchell. He's got the size over Mitchell, so he would have easily done a bit of damage. But thankfully, Flinders get bailed out with that travel.
You got to look down the board and see who's going to break the shackles now for Flinders.
Wolf hands it off to Warry. Warry again blocked off here by DeConing. Kicks it off. Can they get a three-ball? It can't. Hits the front iron. That came off Marshall this time around.
There they go again.
Morale. So this now 11-0 run. Oh, jeez. Zane Windsor almost, you would say, would have put a dagger into the heart of the Flinders faithful if he got that three ball.
They would have cut a lap of this building if that had gone down the Berwick bench. He made a man dance, and I don't know that he really knew where he was going.
Mitchell, Marshall. Can they break the 11-0 run here of Berwick in this third quarter? No, they can't. Flinders at this point could potentially go scoreless in this third quarter. Carter, DeConing, Rivets, all getting their hands on the ball now. James, DeConing hits the front iron, but they get the rebound again. They get the O-ball they want. Carter, second attempt. DeConing in the post. Make that a 13-0 run now for Berwick in his third quarter.
Sensational feed underneath, and DeConing just finding a great position inside and able to get to that dunker spot and is gratefully receiving that ball.
13-1, I should say, my apologies. Remember, Flinders did get that solitary free throw through Denver Warriors, so it's still 13-1, which is alarm bells in its own, but they haven't had a proper bucket this up in this third quarter. Parker Rivers going to make him pay on the other end. No, he can't. Good work here in the end by Pickering. Tried to find Carter, and Wolf says no. Turned over.
Got to go now if you're Flinders.
Warry. Christensen, Mitchell, Warry again. He's been well guarded, well rounded since quarter number one. In space here, they have to put a shot up here. And they can't break the duck again. Mitchell couldn't do that from long range.
Got a lid over the ring down on that right end of your screen. Wasn't able to fill that one up. In and out.
Rivets, Carter, James. Here for the Coning, Pickering. Rivets, going to go for the Hail Mary! Parker Rivets puts the dagger at Flinders. Margin of 16.
Well, it's hard to see where the answer's coming from Flinders. That is an absolute backbreaker. And there it is again, another turnover.
Carter, the damage continues. The onslaught continues. Can they stop it, Flinders? They can't. They can't even get their hands on the rock at the moment. Carter. DeConing. He joins the party. 19 points the margin.
I'm speechless. This Berwick College team looked like they were in a world of hurt earlier.
About time for everyone at Flinders. Marshall gets a triple. The damage has already been done. A 19-4 run in this third quarter. And it's a 16-point advantage to Berwick.
There's a remarkable turn of events as they tried to go inside, but wasn't doing. But this is a remarkable turn of events. This is something that no one would have predicted at the start of the game. Berwick just going out and doing their job right now. They're locking down on the defensive end and they're generating turnover after turnover after turnover, and it's just giving them such good, clean offensive looks. And you're right, what you said before, Flinders can hardly get their hands on the pill.
Mitchell, can he get it back-to-back buckets? He can. So Mitchell's had a consistent last 30 seconds. Margin at 14. Berwick have possession in their hands, and they'll be called on Mitchell there. That's his second foul of the afternoon, and probably an elementary foul too to commit, just to try and stop the momentum of Berwick here.
It's not a bad one to give. Second team foul of the quarter, just to slow it somewhat.
James, DeConing, got to put it up. From long range, no good. At three-quarter time, a 19-6 run in favour of Berwick. They lead this one by 14 points, 40 points to 20 as we turn for home. Jack Thornton.
Yeah, well, I think There's a stunned silence across the crowd almost,
Yep.
unless you're in Berwick College colours. I don't think anyone was expecting to turn around and have a 14-point advantage in the Berwick College hand as they turn for home, and they call that third quarter the premiership quarter for a reason. And quite clearly so in this instance, that Berwick have just run away with this one. They went in 1 point up to to halftime. They've come out of it 13-point winners of that third quarter. And they're going to go make a turn for home with a 14-point lead, which is remarkable.
De Koning also on double-double watch too. He's got 10 points and 9 rebounds to three-quarter time. So that will happen potentially sometime in the fourth quarter, which is an amazing stat line to have.
De Koning's been brilliant. You can't overstate the effort that he's put in for this Berwick outfit. 4 of 7 from the floor and 2 of 2 from the land of plenty. He's just doing the job. It's him and Parker Rivet, I think, are the two danger men, to be honest, more than anyone else for Berwick. But now the question is, where's your answer come from? And well, I don't think it can all be Denver Warrior. I think there's got to be some help from his friends.
Well, looking at the stat line here, like Marcus Christensen 0 from 7 this afternoon. That reads a lot. If you're 0 from 7 and they've missed a lot. They've missed a lot of shots that they probably should be hitting, because looking at the overall count, they were 11 of 42 from the field, whereas Berwick are 16 for 42, 26 to 38, a 12% discrepancy between both sides.
And the biggest one to me is that they've shot 15% from the three-point line. Like,
that's ugly.
At what point do you just put the long ball away? You're probably going to need to get back into this game with stops and scores rather than trying to tee off from deep. It's not been there for you so far. I don't think it's going to magically appear in your cereal as you turn for home.
Fourth quarter underway here. 40 Berwick, 26 Flinders College. There's a 19-6 run in that third quarter in the favour of Berwick. De Koning for 3. And Harrison De Koning puts the fingers up and says he's cooking in this fourth.
De Koning's face is red hot right now, and it matches his shooting hand, because he has been lighting up this Nunawading Court 1.
A travel. Gee, that just sums up Flinders' second half. Bounced off a Berwick player and ended up moving the pivot foot, and it got caught for a travel.
It's the second kind of weird travel we've seen today. We saw one in the under-15 boys earlier on where one of the players slipped on a wet patch and got done for a travel. But in this one, it's the back pedal that'll do the job. Oh, nice feed to Koning.
Carter in space. Pickering can't get it to go this time around. Fitting gets the rebound. He's fourth for the afternoon.
See what they've got here on the offensive end. I just don't see where it's going to come from. Warri might have to play some bully ball, but they're just going to collapse in on him just like that.
Good pressure there in the end from Elijah Carter. Went to ground with Denver Warri. Unfortunately, the foul's been called, so it's not a jump ball in the end. It's a foul being called on Elijah Carter.
A bit stiff on Carter. He was sort of the last man on the spot. Gets done for the hand check as he was going to floor.
Mitchell, Newnham, Wolf. It's going to stay with Flinders. Comes off the shoes of James.
No reset's interesting. I would have thought that kick ball would have resulted in a quick reset of the shot clock.
Mitchell might use Fitton as a screen. And I think we're going to reset here because the shot clock did not start moving. I like the analog clocks, don't you, Thorno?
Oh, man.
They do okay, don't they, sometimes?
Well, at the end of the day, it's just a switch. We do thank our scorers and our bench and technical official crew.
They work hard.
They do a great job too. Week in, week out.
Yep.
The unsung heroes of Victorian and Australian basketball.
Mitchell, good friend of mine's also emceeing, who's normally a scorer in NBL 1 circles.
Oh dear.
Dawn's done a fantastic job on the music and the emceeing this afternoon. James, Rivets, Carter. De Koning in best space for the mid-range.
Oh,
but good work there from Elijah Carter. Crashed the O-boards, and Berwick will keep possession. And as I say that, they keep possession. O-board there, so that's a double-double there for the Koning. That's 13, that's 11 now. So he's now 13 and 11 rebounds for the game. Harrison the Koning, and a jump ball's been called. Where's the arrow going to be pointing to?
Let's have a look at this one. I don't know what quite they're discussing away from the ball here. There's a lot of body contact there. A lot of mop crew out there at the moment going wild, and it is indeed a jump ball. So that'll go the direction of Flinders, who rather stiffly for Harrison de Koning, not going to end up with the ball.
So Harrison de Koning, our stat line says 13 and 10, but I counted the extra rebound too, so I think it should be 13 and 11.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big game from de Koning. He's been really important, stroking it from deep too, which is pretty good.
As the mop squad's out just to sort of clean up the precipitation on the floor, and of course the ball too. And as I said, not too bad outside when I came in this afternoon here in Melbourne, but I think the weather's about to turn over the next couple of hours or so too. So there might be some showers about tonight on the drive home. So everyone in the venue, please make sure you drive home safely.
Not looking good for my washing that's sitting on my balcony at the moment. We are in big trouble.
Find out once we get out of here at about 9 o'clock tonight.
Oh boy.
17 points the margin, 43-26. Wolf now the inbound here for Flinders.
I really like the endeavour that Berwick has gone about their defensive end. They needed to make changes to try and curb the flow of offense from Flinders, and they've managed to do so.
Worry to get through Carter. And a bit of contact down there by Elijah Carter, so he's up to his third foul for the game.
That's exactly what I was talking about right there. Carter is so intent on just riding and not making it easy at all for Worry.
He's almost Berwick's disruptor a little bit, isn't he, Elijah Carter, you would say?
He's doing the job out there for it in that role too. That's a nice finish.
Mitchell now up to 11 points for the game, so at long last, Flinders get someone in double digits. And no, it's not Denver Worry, it's Spencer Mitchell this afternoon.
Just out of interest, 1 point since quarter time for Worry. It's that free throw at the start of the third quarter.
Missed there by Pickering. They can't get their hands on the ball at this point in time. Berwick. Elijah Carter puts Denver Worry down.
He's a bit sore there too, I reckon, Worry. Got absolutely tackled.
And Elijah Carter now is up to 4 fouls for the game. So he might be subbed out. Will Berwick sort of roll the dice with Elijah Carter here? No, they're going to bring him out, which is probably a smart idea, and bring Osman in. But the disruptor of Berwick has probably done his job this afternoon.
He's done everything he needed to do there. I think Warrior's going to stay in the game here. It looked like he was a bit concerned with the knee just as he slid into the feet of Carter.
He's a bit proppy a little bit, isn't he, Denver Worry?
Yeah,
he's holding on to that knee too.
That knee's really bothering him.
Yeah.
So I'm not a massive fan of that play from Carter. I get that you have to slow the play down, but you can do that without potentially injuring an opposition player. That's not to, do not get my words wrong. I'm not suggesting it was a dirty play by any means, but there are ways that you can go about. Oh, so turn it over on the 5 second. I think there are ways you can go about that hard foul that aren't just grabbing someone by the shoulders and dragging them to the floor. A bugbear of mine in the basketball game today.
Absolutely. So we'll keep eyes peeled on Denver Worry. He looks a bit better now, but he was very proppy about 30 seconds ago. So we'll keep eyes peeled to see how he's going. McCallum, Morrell, Rivets, who's been tremendous this afternoon. Zach Morrell might have to put this one up. He does. And an easy floater there from Zach Morrell. He started to get a little bit going. Had a very terrible first half, Zach Morrell. Was missing shots on the line, but he's really composed himself after half time. He's up to 8 and 7 for the game.
Yeah, just not sure that Wolf really did all he could there defensively. Kind of sold the contact a little bit as
Fitton tried to go inside the post there for Denver Worry. And unfortunately, contact was made before that became a thing, and he'll be caught on Osman. That's his first foul of the afternoon.
Yeah, so Wolf tried to exaggerate that contact down on the defensive end, and it put him right out of position, and hence why Morel had such an uncontested little floater there. And I think if he just fights with that play a little bit longer, he might be in better stead moving forward.
The rebound count looks very ugly too. 39 to 25 in favour of Berwick, and look at those offensive boards. Almost as much as the defensive boards that Flinders have put down this afternoon.
I tend to remember a conversation with you earlier, Michael, that they maybe needed to control the offensive boards.
Morel, another floater there from Zach Morel.
And sure enough, they've absolutely dominated them, Berwick.
19 points the margin. Mitchell in space for Wolf. He's missed. Ball stays here, no for Flinders. Marshall, Worry. Couldn't get it on the corner. That's better from Flinders. And Wolf finally is on the boards.
Fitton did a great job of keeping that ball alive and making the feed inside. You take that any day of the week from your big man.
6 boards now, 2 assists, 2 steals for Michael Fitton. Just hasn't been able to put it on the scoreboard this afternoon. Morale in a bit of space. A bit of an air ball. It's going to stay here with Berwick. Shot. Oh, that was fantastic from McCallum.
Actually got pretty lucky there, Flinders, because that looked like it could have been called a shooting foul as he went up with that one as Worry went inside. He got fouled, but
Cooper McCallum, what a 3 ball.
He almost put a hole in the backboard. That one caromed off it so hard, but doesn't matter how they go in, there's no pictures on the scorecard, as they say.
Exactly, and the one thing I like too from Cooper McCallum too is he wasn't fazed by the shot clock expiring because he pulled up for that 3-2 just on the line and released it beautifully and hits the glass and just hit the net really well.
Without question.
As Denver Worry now heads to the line for 2 and don't think he's doing too well at the moment, Denver. I think that knee is troubling him. Does look a bit proppy still.
Absolutely. I think when you're such a fearless player more often than you're not, it certainly is emphasised when you're maybe a little bit under the weather. Not even under the weather. He's not ill, but he's definitely feeling poorly. Reached for that knee again on the stripe.
So Worry now up to 9 points for the game. Remember, he started the game with 7 points in that first quarter. Make that 10. So 3 after quarter time now for Denver Worry.
Oh, hello.
He's been well held.
Pressure.
Rivets. They got to get over that just in time. But Worry did really well there. As I said that, comedy of errors on both sides because Berwick get the ball on the turnover again, courtesy of Flinders, but blocked off beautifully there from Denver Worry. Can they get better cohesion? Worry in the post. Jawsy's foul again. And this will be called on Zach Morel. That'll be foul number 4 for him.
It's nice to see a bit of intent here from Flinders, but I think it's just going to be too little too late. Down 18 with 2 minutes and 49 to go, you're really going to struggle to get back into it. I wish you're going to release and have 9 threes as you head to home.
And to think as well that Berwick did all their damage in quarter number 3.
No, absolutely right. I think that the Berwick third quarter was a bit of a throat punch for Flinders. They just didn't have the answers to reply, and I think it's just going to lead to a Berwick title.
17 points the margin now. Warrior good on one of the 2 attempts from the line. Morel, McCallum. Trying to go inside there for sure. And it's going to stay with Berwick. And again, Denver Warriors' body language is not looking promising at all.
Yeah, he's very ginger on that. It was his right knee that was sore.
I think he's happy to potentially play out the rest of the last 2 minutes 31, Denver Warriors. So no doubt that's going to be iced up as soon as he gets off the court today.
Where's this one going?
It's going to go Flinders' way. It's been called there on. It's been called on Shaw.
Yeah, Shaw just a little bit over eager, trying to get hands to get up towards that one.
17 points the margin.
15 foul as a side note. Missed that one before.
So now for the remainder, 2 minutes 32. If Flinders get fouled, they will head straight to the line. No buts, no ifs about it. Wolf misses on the first.
I've seen it happen before where you sort of get to within 10 to 15 points with this sort of time frame, and it's doable, but sort of can't miss your free opportunities, which...
Misses on the second, blocked off beautifully there for McCallum. In space though. Missed there was Christensen, but what a block there for McCallum. Osman, inwards here for Cooper McCallum. He gets dispossessed there by Marshall. And Christensen gets possession here for Flinders. They're away now, Flinders on the fast break, and fortunately Christensen runs out of real estate and he loses possession, so it's going to go back to Berwick.
That's hard to do, Marshall. That's block and then maintain possession of it when it comes down. That's an increasingly difficult art. He knows to do that one to perfection, but obviously just turned it over on the other end.
Turn that ball over, Christensen. Second attempt, got denied. Well done from Zach Morrell. Rivet. Osman. Can't make it pay on the other end. They did everything right there, Berwick, except get the 2 ball. And Zach Morrell, that is foul number 4.
Wow. How about that play to send that ball back on the fast break? What an impressive athletic feat to just jump and get that one out of there. He is going to pick up his 4th on that next play phase and take a seat for his trouble, but what a great effort to stem the Flinders flow. Really puts an exclamation point on this victory.
There'll be a big win coming up here for Berwick. As Windsor's back in. And McCallum's out after a couple of really good plays there from Cooper McCallum.
I think it's a little bit of victory formation now for Berwick. Pulled the bench. A couple of faces we've not seen a lot of in this game.
Rivet. Inwards here now for Osman. As easy as you like there for Osman. He's on the board this afternoon. 18 points of margin in favour of Berwick. Ball in the hands now of Christensen. Bit too much there for Wolf. And Berwick will get possession back.
Yeah, just tried to do too much with it. This time of the game, it's probably just beyond it. Definitely chasing a game, but the game just will not be catchable in this instance.
Parker River did well there. Shaw, he's on the board too. So the Berwick boys are going to try and get themselves on the scoreboard. They've got 53 seconds left before they are the under-17 champions here at the Graveyard in Nullarbor. Mitchell, inwards here for Wolf. Easy bucket.
Contested in the end for Wolf. This is where Berwick just needs to be a bit smart with it. You don't want to have this scoreline necessarily flatter your opposition.
Rivet, floater, misses. Short fingertips on it.
In essence, it has been an absolutely dominant performance from Berwick, especially after that third. One of the Flinders outfit are going to pick up a warning for his trouble. 24 and 3/10 left in this.
So Berwick will be the under-17 Champions Cups of 2000. Will be the Champions Cup for the under-17 boys of 2024, and they're just going to run his clock out now. Berwick win by 18. Windsor's just going to keep bouncing the ball. Parker Rivers goes straight to his teammate, and that's it. The clock will run out. A massive win, a big win. Berwick get it done by 18. And they are the Under-17 Champions Cup winners of 2024.
Sensational performance from Berwick. That third quarter has one that will be long remembered by their school and those that support their basketball program. But what a great performance for them to be able to come out and, well, in essence, just punch Flinders College in the mouth and say, hey, this is what we've got. Can you hang it with us? And the answer was no on this instance for Flinders. And a great performance out there. Special mention, Harrison de Koning, who was just brilliant. 13 points, 10 rebounds on the night for him. And really steered Berwick to victory, and they'll enjoy their time at mid-court now as champions of the under-17.
Thoroughly deserved too. Harrison de Koning, as you mentioned, 13 and 10. Zach Morrell, 10 and 8 in the end, which is really good to see. And Parker River, 10 points and 4 rebounds. St. Windsor, 10 points and 4 rebounds too. Final score here for the under-17 Champions Cup is about to reset very, very shortly for the women's side. It is Berwick 54, Flinders 36. We'll be back with the women's on the other side of this. Congratulations to Berwick College again, winners of the under-17 Champions Cup for 2024.